Good evening, everyone. This is Robert Jamieson. Welcome to our first online chess lesson for 2015. I hope you've all had a good holiday. I know I followed lots of chess tournaments over the holidays. We had the Australian Junior up in Canberra, the Australian Open in Sydney, and the Auckland Open, or New Zealand Open in Auckland. So I've got lots of interesting games and positions I've collected over the holidays that hopefully we'll be able to have a bit of a look at in the next few weeks. Now, a couple of housekeeping things because there might be some new people here. The format of the lesson is I generally log on about 6 o'clock. If anyone wants to log on early and have a look at the puzzle. The lesson actually starts at 6:30 and we finish up about 7:15. We start with a little puzzle and then we generally look at a game or perhaps a long end game or a couple of positions or something like that. I will hope that you will be in a nice quiet room with your microphone turned on full, because at various stages throughout the lesson I will unmute you and have a chat to you individually. So hopefully everyone can get a bit of a go at talking to me and having a look at the game. For those of you who aren't unmiked, we can still correspond through the question box. So if you double click on your question box, it should appear in a separate window and I can ask you questions and you can type your answer in the question box. Okay, so let's get started. I'll see if I can talk to Passendal. You there, Passendal?
Yep.
How are you today?
Good, thank you.
You do any chess over the holidays?
A bit, but not much.
Okay, oh, well hopefully you can get back into the swing of things now. All right, now we have a little puzzle here. Have you had a look at the puzzle?
I've had a look, but I couldn't find any good move.
Yeah, it looks pretty horrible. So what we first off do is assess the position. So in this position, black seems to have 4 extra pawns for not much. And white's trying to attack on g7, but black's got that covered twice, so there's really not much to attack either. And I think if I was black, I'm just going to throw that A pawn down the board and try and get a queen with that or get you to sacrifice a rook. So maybe we should resign, unless we can think of some brilliant idea or some prospect of carrying on. So have you got any move at all, or do you reckon we should just throw in the towel and resign?
I think we should resign.
Okay. What about everyone else? If anyone else has thought of a good move for white or a move to justify playing on, type it in the question box now and we'll have a look at it. It looks pretty hopeless. I know some juniors play on absolutely till checkmate, even some quite strong juniors, but if the position's hopeless with no play, we should resign. No one's coming up with any ideas. All right. Let's say we play on for another move or two, Passendal. So if you were white, what move would you make, do you think? If we decided we're going to play on.
Maybe rook d1 to double up the rooks and attack on d8.
All right, so rook d1. Black's probably just going to throw his pawn forward. So you're going to follow up with rook d8, is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay, but it's not really threatening anything other than a swap of rooks. So I think black can just keep charging down with his pawn. Looks like we're stuck. All right, let me have a go. Let me try a random move. All right, I'll try rook to g6. All right. What do you reckon black should do in reply to that, Passendal? Should he still throw that A pawn or should he do something different?
I can't see any threats, so I think you should move the A pawn.
So just check the A pawn. All right. Let me check with one of the others. I'll check with Niam. You there, Niam? Talk to me, Niam. Are you there, Niam? Do you have a microphone? Can you talk to me? Liam says he hasn't got sound. Okay, all right, that's a pity. All right, let's have a talk to Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep, okay. All right, I'm trying rook g6 for something to do. So Passendal says he wants to play pawn to a5. What do you reckon black should do?
I thought move the A pawn to
a5.
2 spaces forwards.
Yep, all right. So you're agreeing with Passendal. Yep, so it looks like it's going to be a pretty easy win for black. All right, thanks, Charlotte. Let's go back to Passendal. You there, Passendal? Talk to me again. Yep, okay. All right, let's see if we can put our thinking caps on, and I'll show you guys how we can try and solve these puzzles. So one of the things, if you can't see anything good, well, actually, to be a good player, you have to come up with an idea that your opponent doesn't see. It might be a threat, it might be a trap or a trick or something like that. But generally, the better player will come up with some idea that his opponent doesn't see. So we've got to try and think of an idea that might trick our opponent because we're hopelessly lost. We've got nothing to threaten and he's just going to push those pawns. Now, let's work backwards. So we're white. We'd like to win the game. Do you reckon we could get a checkmate against our opponent? Is there any chance of a checkmate?
Probably not, but we have a chance of a draw.
Yeah, so there's no chance at all of a checkmate. All right, so our best chance is to try and get a draw. All right, so let's see if we work out how we can get a draw. Do you reckon we could get a perpetual check?
Maybe.
Well, we haven't even got a check in the first place, have we? He's got his king all covered. So is there any chance of a perpetual check?
No.
Not really. All right. 50 move rule. Do you reckon we could make 50 moves without a pawn move or capture?
No.
No, he's not going to do that. And if we offer him a draw, do you reckon he'd take it?
No way.
No way. All right. So there's only one possible chance of a draw. What is that?
Stalemate?
Stalemate. All right. So let's have a look, because our king at the moment, he's only got, well, he can't go to h2, he can't go to g2. So he's in the corner, so he's in a good spot for a stalemate. The only trouble is we've got these two rooks. So we've got a rook on d7 and a rook on g1 that can move all over the place. So do we have any chance of a stalemate, do you think?
Maybe if we take on g7.
So like if we took on g7, he'd take us back. If we took him again, he'd take us. Now that's nearly stalemate, except we've got one square. We can play king to g1. So that's pretty close, but not quite close enough. Any ideas? So we worked out what we're trying to do. Our only hope is to get a stalemate. Can anyone help Passendal? Type in the question box if you've got an idea. Is there a little stalemate trap we could set? Then hope he might fall for. Any clues, Passendal?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Well, let's give you a few more hints. Now, what I tell you guys to do is when your opponent's made his move, I ask you to say, what is he threatening? What is he threatening? And then when you decide on your move, and before you make that move, you do a double check of what he's going to reply in case there's some move you missed. Now, in this position, I tried rook g6. Now, does that look like a normal move, Passendal, or does that look a bit funny?
So it looks a bit funny.
Yeah, because it's not a good spot for the rook, is it? The rook's like open files and seventh ranks and stuff like that. So if you were black and your opponent played rook g6, what should you say to yourself?
He's threatening something because it's unusual.
You'd say, that looks a bit funny. What's his idea? Maybe he has a plan. Maybe it's not just a random old move. Maybe he's got an idea. But we have to ask ourselves that question. Now, we all decided we were going to play pawn to a5, but in fact, white did have an idea. Now, can anyone
I
spot it?
got
What's
I
Pascal?
can see the idea.
What's the idea?
I think it's rook takes h6 check.
But then I just play pawn takes rook. Yep. You've just lost the rook for nothing. Is that a good idea, or have you got a good follow-up?
And then the rook goes to g7.
Rook goes to g7. What if I take it with a king? Is that
I
stalemate?
mean h7.
Yes,
h7.
Yes. h7 check. He's got to take. And what do we have?
Stalemate.
Stalemate. Whoa. What a cool finish. All right, so we fooled him completely. Because in this position, which looked really hopeless, we thought really hard and we came up with an idea, a stalemate trap. So we played rook g6 and he didn't ask himself what's white threatening, and so he fell for our little trap. All right, so that's the sort of thing I want you guys to do, is to learn how to think and to come up with ideas that your opponent might miss. All right, thanks, Passadil. I'll mute you now. Now, let's see if we can move on. Okay, back to our game. I'll go and talk waifu. You there, waifu? Talk to me,
Yep.
waifu. How are you today?
Yeah.
You didn't see that little stalemate trap in the puzzle?
No.
No, it's a pretty hard one. I'd be very impressed if anyone saw that, but it was a nice little finish.
Isn't it rook takes h6?
It was rook takes h6 check, pawn takes rook, rook h7 check. So you okay with that?
Yep.
Yep. All right. Now, you're going to help me get started with our game today. The game I've chosen to look at is between David Howell. He's a British Grandmaster, probably 2600 odd, so a really strong player. And he's playing an Australian junior named Carl Zalesko, who's one of our better juniors, who's about 2300. And this was played over in Auckland over the Christmas holidays in the New Zealand Open. Have you heard of Carl Zalesko at all? Do you know him? Okay, he's a pretty good player, but he's not quite up to Grandmaster standard. So we're going to see how he copes with playing a really top player. Okay, now, for those of you who were with me last year for our lessons, I mentioned at the start, I think there were 4 basic principles of chess that we probably think about in our games. So the first thing we do is, as I said, if your opponent makes a move, we say, what is he threatening? If he's not threatening anything, that's great. We can do whatever we like. And there are 4 basic principles that might guide our thinking. You got any idea what they might be, waifu? What do we need to think about?
The center?
Space. In the center is space. So one of the principles is space. How can we gain space? Yep. What else is that?
King safety?
King safety. Very good. That's the hard one. Not many people get that, because if our king isn't safe, then we lose the game by being checkmated. So space, king safety. Anything else?
Development?
Yes. Development is, we'll call that one time. So we're trying to get lots of our pieces out really quickly so we can outnumber our opponent and we can have like 3 attackers and he's only got 1 defender. And there's one more, an obvious one. So we've got time, space, king safety. Can you think of the 4th one?
Material?
Material, that's it. All right, so you guys put that in your memory bank. We need to think about time, space, material, king safety. And as I go through these lessons, I will refer back and say, here, white makes a move that helps him with time or gives him more space or something like that, so we can see how that actually relates to a game. All right, let's get started. So what we'll probably do is most of the time we'll try and pick the Grandmaster's moves, because a really good way to improve is to play through games of strong players. And what you do is you say if it's a book, you cover up the moves with a piece of paper and try and guess what the strong player is going to play, and then move the piece of paper down, reveal the actual move, and compare it with what you thought. That's a really cool way to learn. All right, let's get started. So white plays c4. Do you know the name of that opening, waifu? English opening, that's right. So it's controlling a bit of space in the centre. It's controlling b5 and d5. Black replies with pawn to e5. All right, what move would you do here, waifu? So we've got a little bit of space.
D3.
Say again? White's go. B3, did you say?
No, D.
B for Bob. You play pawn to b3, is that what you're telling me?
D for dog.
D for dog. D for dog. Pawn to d3. Okay.
Yeah.
That's gaining a little bit more space. What about time? Is it more important that you do something with your pieces, perhaps?
Yeah, knight c3 or knight f3.
Yeah. I think most people would do knight c3 because once you've got the pawn out, putting the knight in behind it, and that gives you extra control of d5 and e4, so that's a good move. We also have a saying knights before bishops. So black agrees with that. He puts his knight out to f6. White puts his other knight out, c to f3. Now he's attacking our e-pawn, so black puts his knight out. So both sides are obeying our rules so far. They've got two pieces out, so they're going well on development, and they've both got a pawn controlling a bit of the centre. Okay, what would you do now, waifu?
D3.
Pawn to d3 again? That's
D3.
D3. That's an okay move. The Grandmaster does a different move. He does pawn to g3. So he's wanting to fianchetto his bishop on g2, which is the longest diagonal on the board and a pretty good spot for the bishop. Okay, let's see what Carl does in reply. Knight d4. Okay. Is that a good move, do you think, waifu, or is that a funny move?
Funny move.
What's funny about it? Has he broken any of our rules?
Yeah.
What rules has he What rules he broken?
He lost a time.
He's sort of losing time because he's moved the same piece twice. So he's already got that knight developed on c6. So what I generally tell you guys is move each piece only once and put it on the best square in the opening. Unless, of course, it's threatened or something like that, or he leaves a piece where you can take it. But, I mean, normally you'd think, okay, well, maybe he's got to move this f8 bishop somewhere, c5 or b4 or somewhere like that. But Carl's moved the piece twice, and look what we can do. We could take his pawn on e5 if we wanted. Could be a free pawn. So let me ask you guys what you think. Would you take that pawn on e5? Is that going to be a free pawn? And Carl's made a big blunder. So type yes or no in the question box, whether you take the pawn or not. So Niam's taking the pawn. Passendel's not taking the pawn. So it's 1-1. Waifu's not taking the pawn. Charlotte, what do you think? Are you taking the pawn or not taking the pawn? Or are you still thinking? So waifu, you said not taking. Why are you not taking? What's the problem? Let's say you take it. Has black got a good move? Are you worried about something?
I don't. Oh, damn. The ads.
So why did you decide not to take the pawn?
I decided not to take it because it will lose time back, and white and black can get his bishop all developed.
Okay, but it's a free pawn, isn't it? So you might be a little bit down on time, but you'd be ahead on material. And he's lost his centre pawn, so that's going to make it easier for you to get more space. What do you think Black would reply? Does Black have a good move in reply?
Not really.
Not really. I think he's got a sneaky move. If I was Black here, I would play Queen E7. So now I'm attacking your knight. All right. So what would you do about that?
F4.
You do pawn to F4. Okay. You wouldn't play knight to D3. Would that be a good move?
Knight F3 mate.
Knight F3 mate. Whoa. Be a disaster, wouldn't it? Okay, so maybe Carl was trying to trick the Grandmaster, but White can probably play F4, D6, and it's a little bit messy, but White's the pawn up. I don't think it's too bad. Anyway, the Grandmaster decided not to take a risk. He just developed the bishop. So now he's got 3 pieces developed, and Black just swaps on F3, bishop takes back. All right, how do you reckon White's going so far, waifu?
Okay.
Okay, so he's ahead on time. He's got 2 pieces out, but it's Black's move. He's got a pawn in the centre, so they've both got a bit of space. And he's only 1 move away from castling to make his king safe. So he's going pretty well, I'd say. All right, let's see what Black does. Black does bishop b4. All right. Does that worry you? Is he threatening something or not?
It's not.
Are you worried about him taking your knight and doubling your pawns?
No.
Yeah, it's not really a threat, because if he was to take the knight and double our pawns, double pawns are a little bit unfortunate, but he's taken 2 moves to do it, and now he's lost his bishop, so we've got the 2 bishops. So his control of the dark squares is going to be a little bit weakened, so it's probably not really a threat. All right, what move would you like to do as White? See if we can pick the Grandmaster's move again.
Castle?
Castle. Castle looks logical to me. I think I would castle, but he did a different move. He did pawn to D4. Okay, what do you think he's going for there? What's his idea?
I think he's trying to gain control of the center.
Yes, he's trying to put an extra pawn in the centre, maybe swap off Black's centre pawn, and then White will have a big advantage in space if Black was to, say, do pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn. All right, let's see what Black does. Does he do the swap? Nope, he goes queen e7, so he's developed another piece, and he's protected his pawn with the queen. All right, what do you want to do now? We could just castle, we could take the pawn, we could push our pawn to d5 and gain some more space. What do you think, waifu? What would be good? Castle? Castle's probably okay. Let's see if he castles. No, he's taken the pawn. All right, pawn takes, queen takes. So now White's probably got more space because he's got rid of Black's centre pawn. But Black's ahead on time because Black's got 1, 2, 3 pieces out, and White's only got 1, 2. All right. Now, what do we ask ourselves, waifu? Black just made his move. What do we ask ourselves?
What's he threatening?
What's he threatening? So is he threatening anything? You tell me.
To take the knight on c3.
Yeah, he's threatening to take the knight on c3. All right. So everyone, let's have a little test for you guys. Let's see if we can pick the Grandmaster's move. So we've worked out what Black's threatening. We're ahead on space, but we're down on time. So what move do you reckon the Grandmaster should make here? So type in on the question box what move you would make. So you might want to defend the knight. You might want to attack something of blacks instead of defend the knight. You might try and make your king safe. All right, so Passendor's going with bishop d2. Looks like an okay move because that's developing a piece and helping us with time. Anyone else have any thoughts? Come on, Charlotte, Liam, or Uday. Wi-Fi. Sorry, my voice is cracking a bit, is it? Right, hopefully it'll come good. So Wi-Fi's going bishop f4 to attack queen. Liam's going castles. All right, so we've got three different moves. So Wi-Fi chose bishop f4. But why do you like that one?
Pardon?
Why do you like bishop f4? So the move you've chosen, you're going to play bishop f4.
Because if he takes the knight and grabs the pawn, we get lots of time.
So you'll be ahead on time, and his queen will be running around. So you'll be happy with that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'll move on and ask someone else see what they think. All right, thanks, Waifu. Let's see if Liam can talk. Have another go. Liam, can you hear me and talk back?
Hello.
Yep. Hi, how are you? You did a different move, didn't you? You wanted castle. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Are you worried that he's going to take the pawn, the knight on c3 and win a pawn? Does that worry you or not?
No.
Okay. All right, well, let's have a look and see what he actually did. Yes, you picked the Grandmaster move. Well done. He did castles. So he said, I'm not worried about that pawn. You can take it if you want. So Black said, all right. Bishop takes knight. Pawn takes bishop. Okay, now, let's put ourselves in the spot of Carl as Black. What move do you guys reckon Black should play here? Should he take that pawn on c3? Or should he maybe do a developing move to catch up on time? Or maybe he should castle to worry about his king safety? So everyone type in the question box what move you reckon you'd make for Black. So Passendor's looking to castle. Charlotte's looking to castle. Waifu's going d6. What do you reckon, Liam? Have you got a move for Black? What's your choice?
I think d6.
Pawn to d6. Okay. I think most of you have got the right idea. So castling's pretty safe. He could play bishop f4, but we go queen c5 or a5 or something. d6 isn't too bad. So Waifu and Liam like d6. But Black didn't do that. He got greedy. He grabbed the pawn. All right. Now, Niam, what is Black threatening?
White's rook.
He's going to take our rook, isn't he? And he's already won a pawn. And he's also threatening the pawn on c4. All right, so everyone, we're ahead on king safety. We're ahead on time, hopefully soon. And we've got more space, but we're under attack. So what move would you guys do here? So again, type in the question box. We'll see if we can get the Grandmaster move. We've probably got to save the rook, make a move that saves the rook. which means we either move the rook or we move the bishop so that the queen is defending the rook. So Passendal's liking bishop f4. Waifu likes bishop f4. Niam, what do you reckon? Have you got a good move for me?
Bishop b2.
Bishop b2. Now, if you play bishop b2, what do you think black's going to reply?
Queen takes c4.
Okay, what if he plays queen takes b2? Haven't you just lost a bishop? So I think that'd be a blunder. All right, so maybe not bishop b2. Let's go and see what he played. Bishop f4. So well done to Passendal and Waifu. So White's protected his rook and developed another piece. So let's see what black does. He grabs the c4 pawn. So he's got 7 pawns. We've only got 5. We're 2 pawns down. Are you worried, Naim? You're 2 pawns down. Is that a worry, or have you got some compensation? What do you think, Naim? You're white. Are you worried about being down in material? Naim, stop talking to me. All right. Okay, let's try, see if Charlotte's there. You there, Charlotte?
Yes.
Okay, so are you worried about being 2 pawns down, or you got some sort of compensation?
Yes, I'm worried.
You're worried, okay. So you're down on material, but what are you ahead on?
I'm still thinking about that.
Right, what about king safety? Are you ahead on king safety?
Yes.
Yeah, because you've castled and he hasn't castled yet. And what about time?
Time is good.
Yeah, I think you're ahead on time as well, because you've just got to move your queen and your rooks will be connected, whereas his hasn't even got his bishop out yet, so he's not going to connect his rook for ages. All right, so we're down on material, but we're ahead on time and king safety. So what move you want to do here?
For white or black?
It's white's go. Black's just taken our pawn on c4. So we need a good move, either to get material back or to compromise his king or to get more pieces out so we're even more ahead on time.
I think move the a2 pawn 1 space forwards.
All right, now tell me, why do you want to move your pawn forwards? What does that do for us?
To save the pawn, I'm guessing.
But the pawn's protected at the moment. It's protected by the rook, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or are you planning?
That's what that.
You're planning to move the rook, maybe?
Yeah. No, I'm not planning to move the rook. I'm thinking now maybe move your queen to b3.
b3. All right.
He might take.
All right, but hang on. Now, if we're down 2 pawns, do we want to swap off queens and get into an endgame?
No.
Probably not, I'm thinking. Probably not. All right. If we're ahead on time, the thing about time...
I got something now. I got something.
All right, what have you got?
Move the bishop on f4 to c7.
Okay, that would be a good move, except that his queen's got that covered, so he would take us. All right, you've nearly got the right idea. All right, let me explain it to you. Now, the thing about being ahead on time is that advantage might disappear. So if we fiddle around and we play sort of little moves like a3, which don't really help, he's going to play pawn to d6, he's going to castle, he's going to get his bishop out, and our time advantage will totally disappear. So what we want to do is get our pieces out really quickly. All right. Which piece isn't helping? Yes, Charlotte, you got another move?
Yeah, I moved the A2 pawn to A4.
Okay. How does that help us, though? Does that help us with
Well,
time?
It
gains a bit of
I
space.
think so.
Okay. All right.
It does have some time.
All right. Everyone else, I think Charlotte's struggling to find a good move. So can you help her? Type in the question box
Yes, I am struggling.
what you reckon White should do. Think about time. Waifu's found the right move. Well done, Waifu. We're trying to get our pieces out. So look at which pieces we haven't got out and how can we get them out quickly. So Waifu's found the right move. Anyone else? I'll give you 5 more seconds. Yep. Charlotte, what do you think?
Move the F4 bishop to G5.
Okay, that would be threatening to take the knight and double the pawns. It's sort of all right. Uday suggested bishop d5, but I just take it. All right, I'll show you the move which Waifu got. Well done, Waifu. Rook c1. So now we're developing the rook. We're hitting the queen. Now, the only trouble is our a pawn isn't protected. So greedy old Carl, he just said thank you for the pawn. So we're now 3 pawns down. But we do have a good move here. What would be our follow-up move, Charlotte? After rook c1, what can we do now that we couldn't do a minute ago?
I got it.
Yep.
We can do F4 bishop to C7. Now that the queen's moved.
Okay, so we can get one of our pawns back. Yes, that wouldn't be too bad. Niam's come up with the right move, though. The Grandmaster preferred to take it with the rook. So the rook's sort of really attacking there on the 7th rank. So we're back to being only 2 pawns down. And now we're well ahead on time. We've got 3 pieces developed and probably 4 if you count the queen. Okay, so let's see what black does. He castles. All right. So we didn't catch him in the middle. He's run away and helped his king safety. So the king safety is now equal. Material black's ahead, but time and probably space white's ahead. So we need a good move for white here. So everyone, see if you can help Charlotte. Type in the question box what move you'd play for white here.
I would play.
Think about where you want your pieces. Think about threatening stuff. Uday's got it. Yep. Charlotte, what are you going to do?
I'm going to do. Oh, great. Do I have to type it?
Yep. No, just tell me.
Can you, Mummy? No, just say what you're. Our answer is F4 bishop to. No, F3 bishop.
Yep.
To F3 bishop to
You going to take the pawn?
C7.
Okay.
C7, yeah.
All right. That's an okay move, and Niam wants to do that too. So we could get another pawn back and take it. The only trouble is.
So there's not a good move.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Charlotte. I'll move on and give someone else a go. So let me explain to you guys. The secret of chess is really about your pieces. You want to have really good pieces and get them to build up and do a coordinated attack somewhere. So we could win material by playing bishop takes b7. The only trouble is our bishop on f3, that's a really good bishop. It's sort of dominating the diagonal, all the white squares. It's in a good spot. Whereas black's bishop is a horrible bishop. It can't move anywhere. So we'd win a pawn, but we'd be giving up a really good bishop for a really bad one. So white being a grandmaster and understanding these sort of things, said, no, I'm not doing that. He's going to do the move that Uday recommended, which is bishop d6. Good move. So that's putting the bishop on an even better square and attacking the rook. So the rook has to go to e8. Let me see. I'll go back and talk to Uday. You there, Uday? Can you hear me? Uday, talk to me. Not talking? No. All right. Never mind. Anyway, that was a good move. Now, White's next move. Think about your pieces again and getting more pieces out and trying to control more space. And White's next move is a really good move. He plays queen to d4. So that's putting our most powerful piece in the middle of the board. And we're sort of dominating the black squares because black doesn't have a dark squared bishop anymore. So that was a good move. Now, what can poor old black do? Have a think. And we need an idea for black. He's 2 pawns up, but he's way down on time. So type in a move for black. I'll try and talk to Uday again. I'll have one more go. Uday, can you hear me? Talk to me. You've typed to me, Uday, but you're not speaking. Nope. All right. Black's go. So Niam's suggesting b6, but that would leave the rook on a8 undefended. Anyone else got any idea what black could do? I'll give you a hint. You generally play where you have an advantage. So like if you've got more pieces on the king's side, you do an attack on the king's side. If you've got more pieces on the queen's side, you do an attack on the queen's side. Waifu's found it, yes. Or Ifu, I think you're telling me it's pronounced. Let's go back to... How do you pronounce it? Is it Ifu?
Yep.
Yep, all right, I'll try and remember that. All right, yes, so you've found a good idea. So Carl has just played pawn to a5. He's got 2 passed pawns on the queen side. He's ahead on material. So if he can push them up, that'll be possibly okay for him. All right, White's go. What do you reckon White should do now, Ifu? Where is White playing? Is he playing on the queen side, the centre, the king side?
He's playing on the king side?
Yep. Or the centre. He's got control of the centre. So what's a good move for White?
I think I play e4 here.
Yes, very good. e4. So that's gaining more space, and we're threatening to go ahead and attack the knight with the pawn, and the knight's got nowhere to go because our bishop's got all its escape squared covers. So that's a good move. So black plays pawn to h5 so that the knight can either run away to h7 or g4. But what is pawn to h5? What's the problem with that? Has that weakened something?
Yes.
What's the weakened?
When he plays h5, yeah.
No, just in general, because black's... Hang on. Just in general, because black's moved his h pawn, has that weakened his position in some way? Think about time, space, material, king safety.
Oh. He wastes time.
It's not really developing. It's wasting a bit of time. What about king safety? Because now he's only got 2 pawns in front of his king protecting him. So maybe his king safety is down a little bit. All right.
Yeah.
Your go. So what's your next move going to be? Should we threaten something? Should we gain more space or more time? Uday's found the right move. Waifu's found the right move. Come on, you've typed it in. Tell me what it is, Waifu.
E5.
Ifu, sorry. E5. That's right. So we're gaining more space and we're attacking the knight. So the knight goes to g4. All right, now, should we take that knight? I'll give you a choice. We can either take that knight and win a pawn, or we can play pawn to h3 and chase the knight away. So you guys type in the question box whether you want to take, bishop takes g4, or you want to play h3 to chase the knight away to a bad square on h6. So Uday is saying he doesn't want to take. Ifu likes h3, Niam h3, Uday, Passandal, yep. All right, so most of you got it right. Well done. The Grandmaster said, I'm not giving up my really good bishop for that silly horse. So he chases it away, and it has to run away to h6. Okay, so we're gaining lots of nice space on the king side, and we've chased his knight to a bad square. All right, Ifu, what's our next move? We could take that h-pawn and win a pawn again. Maybe we get some material back, or is there some better move we could do?
Bishop d5.
Very good. Yes, excellent. Bishop d5. So that's putting our bishop on a really strong square in the middle of the board, and we're attacking his queen. And also, that f7 pawn might be a bit weak. So we've got a double attack. So he has to move his queen. So his queen goes to e2. So now we've got two really good bishops, a good queen, a good rook. What should we do next?
Bring our other rook into play.
Yes, very good. So where do we put the other rook, do you think? Where would be the best spot for it? You want to go D1 or C1 or B1 or A1? What do you think?
I think I'll go d1.
Okay.
I mean c1.
C1, yes. You're playing like a grandmaster. You've got his last three moves. You're doing really well. All right, so you doubled rooks on the C file. So now, have a look at the difference between the two players. So look at the grandmaster's pieces. Every single piece is helping and in a really good spot. Now look at the junior's pieces. His queen's in a good spot. He's got a knight on the side of the board. He's got a rook not helping much. And the other two pieces, the bishop hasn't moved at all, and the other rook's on the queen's side. So his pieces, except for the queen, are all on the edge of the board, and they're not really coordinated at all. The only thing he's got going for himself is he's ahead on material. So Carl says, all right, pawn to a4. So his plan is going to try and rush that pawn through and see if he can get some advantage like that. But the Grandmaster says, okay, I'm going to chase your best placed piece away because that queen hasn't got many squares to go. So he does rook c2. You happy with that, Ifu? Is that a good move?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we think not only about putting our pieces on good squares, but if the opponent's got a good piece, we want to swap it off or chase it away. So Carl runs all the way back to the queen side, a6. So let's have a look at Black's king. Do you reckon the king's safe or the king could be in a bit of trouble?
The king could be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, because he's only really got that knight and rook defending it, and we've got two bishops and a queen attacking. Maybe we can get other attackers across. All right, what do you reckon our next move would be? We want to try and finish off his king before his a-pawn can come through and worry us. So we probably want to play on the king side. Any idea, Ifu?
Maybe.
Uday's got it. Well done, Uday.
Bishop takes f7.
No, we take it with the knight, and then we've lost our best piece. The move that Uday got pawn to g4. So we're trying to move forwards and maybe get that knight to move, and then we might get an attack on f7. So black goes takes. Now, Carl realizes he's in a bit of trouble on the king side, and he's got to try and distract white with something on the queen side. So he does an interesting move here. Pawn to b5. So he's got two passed pawns coming down at us, but he's left his rook there where our bishop can take it. All right, so question for you guys. Do we play bishop takes rook or don't we? So type in the question box yes or no. So we can gain 5 points for 3 points to get some of our material back if we want, or we could do something different. So Ifu's a no, Uday's a no, Charlotte's a yes, Niam's a no, Passendor's a no. Right. Ifu, so you're a no? You don't want to take the rook?
Yep.
Why not?
Yep.
Why not? Tell me why.
Because the bishop is in the center of the board and it's much better than the rook on the corner.
Yes, exactly right. So even though a rook's worth 5 and a bishop's worth 3, it all depends on whether they're good pieces. And our bishop, it's like the best piece. It's in the middle of the board. It's attacking everything. It's fantastic. Whereas his rook hasn't moved at all. It's not really helping. So we don't want to give up a good piece for a bad piece, even if we do gain 2 points on material. So instead of that, we're going to keep attacking. So find me an attacking move then, Ifu. What would be? Uday's got the right move.
G5.
Yes, let's go pawn to g5. So we'll hit his knight. Oh, no, hang on. He plays knight f5. Now he's got a threat. So he's threatening to take our queen. And maybe he's going to take our good bishop on d6 and swap off one of our best attacking pieces. Okay, so everyone, another test for you. See if we can find the Grandmaster move here. White to play. Type in the question box what move you reckon he made. I reckon he made a pretty good move here. So we'll see if you guys can pick it. We've worked out what is he threatening. So we've asked ourselves the correct question. Now the question is, what do we do in reply? Everyone's thinking hard and not typing. Passendor's looking at queen f4. Looks like could be a good move. Anyone else have a different move? What are you thinking about? Oh, Ifu, what move are you looking at?
G6.
But aren't I just taking your queen? You're leaving your queen there for nothing? What do you get back?
I get to get into the edge of the board and then I can try and make it.
And you can get a new queen. Yeah, exactly right. Well done. All right. So most juniors would say, oh, he's attacking my queen. I've got to move it. But one of the things you guys can try is if your opponent's threatening something, you can ask yourself, can I ignore the threat? Because maybe there's something you'd like to do and that might be more important than the threat. Like he might be attacking your bishop, but if you're attacking his rook, you can ignore the threat on your bishop and you can win the rook. Now here he's attacking your queen and we'd normally move it, but we can in fact ignore it. So very good, Ifu. G6. Now if he was to take our queen, we could go pawn takes pawn on f7. He'd have to run away, and we can go pawn takes rook and get a new queen, and then we'd be threatening checkmate on h5, and we've won a rook as well. So that would be pretty devastating. So very well spotted. In fact, I don't think he did that. He went for rook e6 to try and block the attack. All right, Ifu, what's your follow-up then? He's still threatening your queen. But he's only got a knight and a rook defending. We've got 2 bishops, a queen and a pawn all attacking him. What's our next move?
I think.
Yep.
Queen F4.
We could do Queen F4, but before we decide on it, we have to ask what's he going to reply. And I think he's going to take our pawn now. And then that sort of blocks our attack. We can play bishop takes rook and win the exchange, but we're not going to checkmate him, I think. All right, I'll show you what he does. He does pawn takes pawn check. So that brings the king out into the open. Now we've got a good follow-up move. Aoife, give you another go. What's our good follow-up move?
Maybe now Queen F4?
Yes, now Queen F4. So we're pinning the knight. Now, if he was to do pawn to G6, that looks pretty safe, but we could do the clever move Queen G5. And then next move, we're going to jump in Queen F6 check. And he's in a real pickle with those 2 bishops and the queen. And I think we get a checkmate pretty quickly. So Carl had another go. He did King G6. Now, white makes one more move and black resigns. So see if you guys can find the winning move. What did the Grandmaster play now? Type in the question box. One more move and black gives up. Who's going to be the first to get it? We're attacking with queen, 2 bishops. He's defending with a rook and a knight and a king. Uday's nope. Charlotte, nope. Passendal, yep. Okay, well done. So Uday went Queen G4, which is a good move, but maybe not the best. Charlotte went Queen F5, which loses your queen, Charlotte. Not the best. And Niam's got it as well. So the winning move was Bishop E4. So now we've pinned that knight. Next move, we're going to play Queen takes knight check, and it's going to be checkmate in a couple of moves. Right. So that was a pretty comprehensive massacre. So, Ifu, what can we learn from that game? What did the Grandmaster do really well? Yep, tell me again.
Never be greedy. I mean, never be too greedy.
Yeah, he was too greedy. So black just focused on material. He just went gobble, gobble, gobble and took as many pawns as he could. The Grandmaster said, I don't care about my pawns. I'm worried about my pieces. So he had a time advantage and a space advantage. He got all his pieces out, put them on good squares, and it was easy win for the Grandmaster. So that's what I want you guys to think about. Don't be too greedy when you're playing. Think about your pieces, putting them on good squares like the Grandmaster did today, and hopefully you can have a similar result in your games. All right, I've gone a little bit over time. Apologies for that, but there's a bit to say at the start, seeing it was our first lesson. So I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson today. The lessons are all recorded, by the way, and then put up on the Chess Kid website. So if you happen to miss one, you can always go back and log in and replay it at your leisure. So I look forward to catching you all next week